RPGs come in all shapes and sizes, don't they? From how they present their story to how their mechanics are shaped, there's always something for everyone. The Cruel King and the Great Hero presents these systems through an adventure that resembles a children's book, but the narrative never really captures the imagination of the player. The Cruel King and the Great Hero begins with a young child named Yu, who was raised by the Dragon King and taught the main dangers and hazards of being a great hero. The previous hero was her father, but since his passing, the humans and monsters have been living in peace with each other, or so it seems. However, as you progress through the story, you learn that while the two races have declared peace, it doesn't necessarily translate to being on good terms. The story presents itself as a children's storybook, which shows in the cutscenes depicted as book pages flipping over. A female narrator soothingly tells you the misadventures of Yu and her companions. From a mythical forest to a mysterious fountain, everything in the game is voiced by this narrator. You'll possibly find that if you focus solely on the main story, the game's runtime will only last a few hours. However, that is not to say that the main story is all there is to this adventure. After each chapter, monsters across the realm will constantly be asking you to help them, whether it's for a small chore or gathering materials, or perhaps defeating a vicious enemy that is blocking the passage of others. And this sort of side quest system is what brings me to a delightful annoyance, which is the amount of backtracking you have to do. Yu doesn't dash, or rather she does, but that's only if your level is higher than the area's average level. Until then, you're stuck with a relatively slow walking speed, which weighs on the pacing, especially in areas that are very long horizontally and take 3 to 4 enemy encounters to get to the next section. You can mitigate the encounters somewhat by using an item, but by doing so, you're risking not getting enough EXP, so pick your poison, I guess. Speaking of combat, however, it's your bog standard turn-based battle system that sort of reminds me closely of the mechanics you see from the Mario and Luigi series. The faster your speed, the earlier you'll attack, the more defense, the less damage you take, yada yada yada. All that standard stuff. Nothing particularly crazy. For each chapter, you'll have additional party members, each with their own unique skills that may or may not help you in battle. Now let's talk about localization. I'm going to brush this off as a thing that may be fixed in a later patch, but during my time with the game, I've encountered various moments where the text doesn't line break properly and almost goes off the bounds of the screen. Further, the localization also felt very dry and literal in some places, lacking the punch you would expect from certain games. The Cruel King and the Great Hero is a cute RPG, I can't deny that, but unfortunately it doesn't fully invest in any of its features. The combat is tacked on, the story is predictable, and missions felt like unnecessary padding. Still, the charm is there with a more laid-back narrative than your thrilling style RPG. If you're someone that just wants to wind down and take a break from stories that make you grip your head in fear and confusion, then perhaps this game is for you. Noisy Pixel is giving The Cruel King and the Great Hero a 6 out of 10. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out the full review at noisypixel.net. Noisy Pixel is run by a group of gamers who work hard to deliver news, reviews, previews, and more. Please subscribe to keep up with all our future content.
Noisy Pixel.